I can't.
I can't go live. There it goes. Okay. Are you in on yours?
Hey everyone! Welcome to Martian Arts. I'm Jess with Life Force Energy.
I am Alicia with Yuki Energy Wellness, and today is our first Martian Arts little stream show. We're super excited about it. And
Yes.
today we are going to dive into what it means to feel like you're not just from Earth, how that sense of otherness might actually be a clue to your origins. We'll be exploring starseed activations, galactic memories, and the soul codes that live within the body, waiting to be remembered. Now, this is not about labels, it is not about spiritual ego. We do away with the ego when we do this stuff. This is about healing. It's not about what happens when we begin to reconnect, or it's about what happens when we begin to reconnect with who we truly are and why we came here in the first place. We'll talk about the ache of not belonging, the beauty of this planet, and how anchoring cosmic remembrance can actually shift our lives here on Earth. Whether you've always felt different or you're just starting to ask the bigger questions, this conversation is for the seekers, for the misfits, for the ones who've always looked up and wondered. Come join us on this adventure of a wonderful conversation. Laugh with us because we laugh all the time
All the
and
time.
find out what all of this means.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alicia. This is so exciting. Welcome to episode 1 of Martian Arts. And this is our Cosmic Talk show. And Alicia and I, this is near and dear to our hearts because we've been talking we talk every month, and we talk about the wildest things. We talk about our experiences, some things that we've witnessed in some of our sessions. We never disclose about our persons, but we talk about the experience of what we went through as practitioners. Yeah. So to give you a little idea of who I am a holistic practitioner, and I work with stress management, nervous system regulation. I also work with Reiki and theta healing, and I work with the cosmic brothers and sisters of the light that has to do outside of our plane. So am I a multidimensional healer? Heck yeah. Am I a galactic connector? You bet. And can I do some Akashic records and do all these other intuitive things? Absolutely. And you'll get to learn more about that. But I'm also a mom of 3, and I'm a wife, and I'm running things like you wouldn't believe, but I love it. It's what I came here to do. It's my sole purpose. And I'm excited to share all these wild things that I grew up with as a child. And I was looking for people like Alicia. I was looking for my vibe tribe because I would look up to the stars, and I would look at the stars and I say, I'm so excited for the day that I'll get to meet people that are just like me, that will also want someone that sees them, like gets them when they're saying, do you see dead people? Or, oh my God, that's not just a star. That's not a plane. What is that? Record it. Okay, things like that. I was looking for people just like you. So we opened this up to be able to connect with all of you. So welcome.
All right. So I'm Alicia, and I own Yuki Energy Wellness with my husband. We do Reiki and energy tuning and coaching, and I love reading tarot and oracle cards, all that good, amazing stuff. I am currently working on my access to the Akashic records for my clients, and I really help them reconnect with who they are, where they came from, and what they're here to do. And it's really amazing, and I've really enjoyed the journey so far. I myself am also a mom to 2 amazing little boys, homeschool, and it's been a really great journey. And, if you can believe it, Chris and I in September will be together for 20 years.
Wow. Oh, how badass is that? I love that. That is so cool.
Get it all, which is really great.
It really is. And especially in today's age where it's like that, any kind of longevity of connection with anyone, having something like that is something to be proud of, because, we all kind of grow, and sometimes we can grow apart and stuff happens. But when you have 2 souls that say, hey, I don't give a shit what we go through, I'm in it with you. Got to be proud about that. So cool.
I'm very happy we've been able to grow together. We met when I was 18. He had just turned 21, and we just, brought out the best in each other.
I
And
love that.
I feel like we've lived like 5 different lifetimes since we've met.
We haven't had as many years as you. We're like a little bit of half. And Eric and I, we feel the same way. We feel like we've been through different lifetimes. My husband says he's been married to multiple different versions of me, and that he says that I keep him on his toes and it's never boring. Take it how you want. So, but thank you, my love. Thank you so much for joining me today. This is so fun. I'm really excited. Now, here's what's going on. We're going to talk about, are you from the stars? What does that mean? Are you from the stars? Well, I'm going to just drop in some quick past life regression stuff. So let me drop in some of I've done a lot of training. So to kind of give you all a little bit of an idea why I do this and why I feel comfortable in this world. I grew up in a family that are herbalists. They would do land clearings. They are psychics of some variation. They were healers. They worked with a lot of elemental, energetic frequencies, things of that nature. So I grew up thinking everybody talked the way I do and see things the way I do until I went into the real world as a child in school, seeing attachments to my peers and then to the teachers and just on the land. And I'd be staring at it and I'd get in trouble for like, what are you looking at, Jessica? Come back to Earth, Jessica. I hate when they used to say that shit. But anyways, they would say things like that. And I'd be like, I was just watching the paranormal activity around people. And I did have, I grew up with having a practitioner. So the person that I am today, I always have till this day, my whole life, I've always had someone interceding on my behalf. I've always had a mentor, a spiritualist, a practitioner, a guide, someone who would intercede and would guide me through this because of my roles that I came in here to do on this planet. And to feel and to be who I am, it's a lot. And I had to learn not to shrink, but to be expansive like Jupiter and not give a crap about what others say. Just because they can't do it, it doesn't mean that they are not able to do it. They just don't know how. But I don't allow anyone ever again to gaslight me and tell me that I'm crazy or I'm a scam or I'm not real. They can go ahead and suck an egg. And so, that's just where I'm at. And so here I am putting myself out here with Alicia because we know if you are from the stars, and we're going to drop down some ideas, some key points to what that could look like for you, then you're going to be like, oh my goodness, I can resonate with some of these things, or I may resonate with all of them. It may really speak truth to who I am. So here's the thing. When I was a little girl, I did look up at the stars. And I did have energies that I would hear around me audibly. And my family, thankfully, was able to hear it too. So that's why I didn't think I was crazy growing up. It was like a show playing in the house and like we're talking about it.
So what was that like for you as a little girl? Because like I feel like I could feel things around me, but I couldn't actually see them or hear them. Now, I didn't grow up in a house like that.
Yeah.
So I never really like went into it full-hearted and ready to go. But I could feel things. I couldn't explain it. So like, how was that growing up, knowing that you could see things and hear these things? And
again, I thought it was normal. So I'd be like, Grandma, as we're sitting at the table, here's a true story. Oh, y'all, everything I'm going to share with you is real. It's a real account. I'm sitting down probably like 13 years of age because I'm in middle school at this point. And I look out, I'm eating breakfast, and I'm looking out and I see something in my neighbor's car. And I was like, what is that? And I'm like, Grandma, what is that? And she goes, oh, it's un demonio. It's a demon. Okay. Just thought, oh, she goes, we gotta go out there and
super nonchalant.
Yeah, she's like,
oh, it's just a demon.
We gotta go out there and get rid of it. And I was like, I'm eating breakfast and I'm ready to go. No, so anyways, at that point, my grandmother tells me, I'm going to train you how to get rid of these energies that aren't meant to be here, that are here to cause harm. And I'm like really scared. And she goes, you cannot be afraid. She says, you, if anything, she goes, I want you to get a warrior energy. I want you to feel like you are equipped, you are protected. I got you. Most importantly, we are shielded and protected, because my grandma was very faith-filled. So again, I don't belong in a lot of religious sectors, because they would think that this is scammy, but it's not. My grandmother was very faith-filled, and she went out there with her rosary, brought out her holy water, and she's like, let's go. And I have no idea what I'm going to do. But, that's how my family trained me. You just kind of get thrown in, and then you kind of figure it out. It's very, like The Incredibles, like, when they had to go in there, and it's like, you just do. And you're like, I don't know what I'm doing, but you just do. Like, instinct will rise from adrenaline. And then your power comes through. So at that point, I'm with grandma. And
then you're just like, oh, damn, I can do that.
I didn't even know. I was just scared. But I had to do what my grandmother said. So right before we walk out the threshold of the house, I'm like, I was very faith-filled, very religious upbringing for my family. So I already spoke scriptures over myself as we headed out there. And so I put on what would be called the armor of God. And there's like, you literally put on a shield, like, which I do now, and quantum energetics, same idea, but it's in different format. But it's all the end result. And so I do my shielding, go out with my grandmother, and my grandmother goes out there, and I'm like, it gets, you get closer to the car, and you can see the way we can see. It looks like a human body, but it's not a human body. It's not even human. It looks dark, and it looks creature-like. And so my grandmother goes over there and starts to cast away. She goes, start doing everything that I'm doing. Follow me now. So I'm doing everything that she's saying. I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. And the sucker goes. It's like gone. And to see something appear, so looking as much as solidified as it can be, and then to disappear, was mind-blowing to me. And my grandmother was so kind and gentle, nothing like my mom and I. But when it came down to energetic battle, like, I didn't even know who she was. I just admired her and respected her greatly. And I took a combination of my mom's potency, where she's like, I'm in charge. She's very bold and courageous, and I'm going to fuck you up kind of thing. That's my mom. And then I took my grandmother's faith. Like, you can't waver her. Like, she is so strong in that. And I took those two, and then I became this design. So, it was, we were going to go into stories, girl. I haven't even shared with you the encounters I've had, but that was when I got to realize that my grandmother was badass. But I got to realize that it was through our faith, through projection of thought and strong emotion, you can make shifts happen.
Yeah. So I'm going to share a really quick story.
Yeah.
Because I know there's going to be a lot of people who are watching this, like, y'all are full of poo-poo with what's going on. This is how I know that it's all real, and that just because we can't see it and fully understand it doesn't mean that it's not there. So we were living in Colorado at the time, and Chris and I, we were just hanging out in the living room. He saw his guide for the first time that night. And I was standing in the kitchen, and he was right outside the kitchen. He's like, yeah, it's right next to you. It's like in the floor. Whatever this is, it's not human. And I'm like, what do you mean that there is something in my house that is not human? Because, you watch the shows, and anything that's not human is not good. So I'm starting to freak out a little bit. And then, however long later, right after my youngest was born, my oldest, he was 5 at the time. He wanted to come and sleep in our bed. Apparently, there is quite a bit of activity that would happen in his room that we never really knew about. We found out about it after my mom and sister were in town for a few weeks, waiting for my youngest to be born. And there was not a whole lot of room in the bed. So I took my youngest, and we went out to the living room. And I was sitting on our recliner, and it felt really weird out there. It wasn't very comfortable at all. I had a really hard time falling asleep. I didn't want to turn on the TV or anything, because it was that room, for like the size that we had, our TV was probably a little too big for that room. So like you would turn it on and it would just blast light throughout the room. And I was trying to go to sleep, so I didn't want that. So I was like, all right, we'll get through it. We'll get through it. And I'm in the recliner and I've got him over here on by the window. And I had finally gotten comfortable enough to fall asleep. And then something came and hit the chair. And I was like, what was that? And we had 2 dogs at the time. I looked down to see, because usually one of the dogs, especially Cody, would have been like right there by the chair. She ended up being halfway between us and our bedroom. So a good like 10 feet away. Um, Bo, our other dog, was between her and the chair. Not to where like he couldn't move and hit the chair at all. There was a good like 2 feet of space between him and the chair. So I was like, what the hell is going on right now? I'm done. I'm going back to my room. It's like nothing could have hit. No, nothing could have hit the chair the way that it did with who was there. He was in that room. And that's when I was like, there's something in my house and I don't know what this is and I don't know what's going on. We finally figured out that it was a guide.
Wow.
And, our lives have not really been the same ever since.
Well, let's talk about that. When I got to work on Chris,
yeah,
he shows up, his guy. So let's jump into how, and they've never told me this, by the way. I didn't know anything about them. And I like that because it gives me an opportunity to show them the authenticity of when we start channeling, getting information through.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I always tell people, whatever is meant to show up, that's what's going to be revealed. You have complete charge of what you want to reveal to anyone. And if there's something inside of you, whether it's subconsciously, that's something that you feel in the background, maybe consciously, like you don't want to share it, but subconsciously you're like, we need to get this. Like, we need to address the situation. So what happened was, it was my time working with her husband. And in one of our sessions, all of a sudden, this little dude shows up and freaks me out. And I go, oh my gosh, Chris, this is going to sound really crazy right now, but this is really happening right now. There is something that is connected to you that's like alien-like. And he laughs. And I think that's when it really solidified for Chris. Like, oh, this woman she's not BSing.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to now his guide. And his guide is cool. And he's funny. He's got a great sense of humor. And I'm describing his guide to him to boot. Because it was so, just like when I was a little girl, or just like when I saw that energy in that man's car, the neighbor's car, my girl was like, we're going to cast it out. I was like, we're gonna do what? It was that real for me.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And so, and even throughout other sessions and even outside of sessions, like his guide liked me. Thankfully, I found favor that when Chris needed me, he would come and communicate to me telepathically and show up visually for me and said, you need to help him here.
And that kind of stuff helped me a lot too, because I remember, and I probably told you and Helena about this at some point. Oh no, you're frozen on my end. Can you hear me?
What?
Okay, there we go. Okay.
Are we not supposed to talk about that? Damn. We both got shut down. All right.
All I know is that between you two and Chris, all at separate times, none of you, like, we weren't talking together at all. It was a sessions with you, sessions with her. And I know you guys don't really talk about that kind of stuff outside of that. With your clients, even if it's the two of us working together and the two of us working together.
I can't share with whatever goes on. So this was all new to me until I asked him if he would communicate that with you.
Yeah.
And he was open to it.
Yeah.
He was like, we talked about this stuff. We're like, I had no idea.
Yeah, because I remember I had talked with both you and Helena about this because I'm like, girl, like I don't know if I'm going crazy. I don't know if this is craziness happening around me. Like this, I also remember at one time I was like, I don't know, like this feels cultish almost. And I don't know why, but
Totally get it. Yeah.
it did. And what helped me with it was, he gave me a description of things. And then I would hear from you, and you would give me a description of what you saw. And it was virtually the same thing. And then I would talk with her, and she would give me a description of this.
Yeah.
And they all just really matched up. And again, I know you guys, like you and her, weren't talking about sessions in between.
No,
Um,
no.
and then, I know that you guys wouldn't talk to me about any sessions that you had with him, obviously.
Mhm.
And so like it was all very just separate. And everyone was giving me the same kind of descriptions. And it's the little bitty details that really help it. And you guys were able to give in on the really small details. And I was like, damn, I guess like, wow, this is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like, because everyone is seeing them. Because I still
Yeah.
don't. I'm still kind of scared of it. So I still don't. I still don't
But you
see every
said
now and again.
you use your clairsentience a lot.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
means clear feeling, like she
Yeah.
senses things inside of her body. We'll
Oh
go
yeah.
into that in our next episodes, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, that's how you feel that.
I feel the tingles.
Yeah,
I feel the different tingles with each different one. I'm still learning what each tingle is for each being, but I
yeah,
feel it and they're all different. But it was just really nice that, three people who can have these visuals are telling me at completely separate times, and I know you haven't talked to each other about it,
mhm.
are telling me the same thing. So I was like, damn, like that's crazy. It's cool, a little scary
Oh, it's
because
scary.
it's new, and
Yeah,
we don't know a whole lot about it because there's not
right.
a lot of research being done on it. But to be able to hear that really helped me a lot. And it helped me think like, oh, wow, I'm really not that crazy. I'm not as crazy as I thought I was. I probably still am a little crazy about some things.
I call it clarity. I call it united clarity. When people think
Yeah.
that it's crazy, and it's like, no, there's multiple of us that are able to pick up this information. Now we're going to pick it up in different ways. Some of us
Yeah.
will pick it up through clear
Yeah.
cognizance, meaning it's clear knowing. It's just knowledge. I don't know how. Where people go, I don't know how to explain it. I just know. That's clear cognizance.
Yeah.
Some get it through clear audience, which is clear hearing, where they hear their own voice. Those who are a little bit more evolved and not uncomfortable with hearing their guide's actual sound and tone, they'll hear it that way. But it's like messages that you hear when you're speaking to yourself in your mind. Some of you can, some of you may not. But those that can, you'll hear yourself speak in your own voice. And then you'll hear like, oh, like here's a message. And so, that's the interesting part. And this is how are you from the stars? Like, let's drop into that because we've given
Actually,
you all examples about that.
yeah. Like
But
I actually wanted to dive in a little bit about what you just said
yeah,
about hearing, because sometimes it's hard to like, oh, well, I'm hearing my own voice. How do I know if it's a thought or if it's an actual like download or just something giving me information that I'm needing
right.
right now? Um, when we first started down this journey, uh, Chris sounded different. He's like, whenever he allowed his higher self in,
Yes.
he spoke differently.
Yes.
He had a different tone. And it's very slight. So like in order to understand it, you do have to know and understand yourself. Which is one of the things that we both do is helping you to uncover and understand yourself and who you are, so that when you do start the connection there and the communication, you can understand it a little more because yeah, it is going to come in like your voice, but it might just be little tweaks, little things that are different, speaking a little bit differently. Your tone is a little bit different. You may speak a little higher and maybe a little lower, things like that. One of those little small things to look at when you are starting to get to know all of this.
So really good that you dropped that in. And sometimes even the personality changes. Like when I go in
Yeah.
healing and I'm going against some other energetic frequencies that are not like I'm clearing a chakra, meaning I'm opening up an energy center for the physical and metaphysical body to operate in a healthier function. No, it's
Mhm.
like I'm going against ghosts. I'm going
Yeah.
against dark. I change, and everyone knows that my voice, I'm loud as is, but there's a different tone that comes out of me, a different persona that comes out, and I call her Raven. That's my version of my warrior self. I'm not as soft and sweet and loving as I am as a human, but that version of my persona that comes in to defend my client and myself, I also change. I've altered, and many people will be like, dang, like she comes in like sounding like mean. Like she's ready to kick some butt. And I am, because now I'm no longer in my human form where I hold onto the emotion. I'm more in this intuitive awareness. I'm more focused. And so I'm ready to take charge and do what I've been trained to do.
And
And
those of you who are watching, if you are like really interested in sharing some personal
oh,
stories or
yeah,
any kind of comments that you have, please share them in the comments so that
please do.
we can get
We
them.
want
We
to
can
do.
answer questions. We can dive in a little bit more with the feelings that you're having and
Yeah.
find out where they're coming from.
Agreed. Yeah, this is just for all of us to talk, because where else do we get to talk about these kind of things? And so I just want to jump in. Like, how do you know, are you from the stars? When we would call, are you a star seed? And if you haven't heard that term, I'm going to break it down. So what are the human traits to go, gosh, I am a little different, and then to embrace that part of you?
And what does it mean to be different?
Yeah, right. Exactly. And I'm going to ask, I mean, how many of us have felt like we don't fit in? We don't belong. People make fun of us because we are different in the sense of maybe the way we talk, the things that we feel, the way that we have our belief systems, things like that. And so,
The way that we hold our passion.
right. Oh, I like that. And it's really, do we feel like an outsider? Do we feel different? I have since childhood. I shared with you that was number one. That was very clear to me as soon as I went into elementary school and discovered that other people couldn't see or sense what I could.
Yeah, so it's almost like you were just like thrown into the
Oh,
trenches with all of it, but you also had a really great supportive
thank
system
goodness.
behind you to
Yes.
help you grow through that. Now, for me, um, I just always felt different. Like even as an adult, I have a hard time holding on to friendships, which, we've talked about. We don't like calling each other friends because
No.
friends typically end up leaving us for one reason or another. We don't know why.
Yeah.
Um, they just do. And that's one of the things that has always made me feel in the background, made me feel like
Don't belong.
super different, like I don't belong because I've never been able to find that place where I feel like I truly belong.
Mm. And I don't think we're meant to belong in the grand scale,
Yeah.
especially for what we came here to do.
Yeah.
Um, because I mean, another thing is, do you have a desire to heal and to serve? That's another sign. And it
Yeah.
doesn't have to be energetics. It can be serving
Right.
as a social worker,
Yeah,
someone
and
that
an
is
activist of some
an
kind.
activist, a mentor for people who have been trafficked.
Yeah.
There are variations. Like you are a superhero without the cape. Okay.
Mhm.
And you are stepping in for humanity. You feel like, or maybe you're not doing it as a profession, but that's just who you are in your friend circle and your
Yeah.
family
Yeah.
dynamic, or even just in a community. If you're like in the Boys and Girls Club, things like that. If you feel there's this calling, you're a nurse, you're a doctor, you're a social worker, you're a counselor, you're on the freaking dispatch to take these crazy calls to help people in the time of the greatest needs of their life.
Mhm.
You may feel this desire to serve, to heal, to be present. You're drawn to teaching, possibly. Maybe there's some kind of service persona that you have. You can be a medium.
Yeah,
It
and
goes
you
on.
may feel the need to do these things without actually asking for a compensation.
That's right.
Like, you're just doing it because you feel like you need to do it. You're doing it because you are feeling called to do it, not because you wanna make money off of it, just because you're feeling called to do it.
Yeah, I think about like people who serve at organizations like churches, people who are
Yeah.
serving in their communities, who are cleaning up the land. So
Mhm.
anything that you would say, do you feel a deep sense inside of you? I've got to help others. I want to see the world in a better place. I want to see my inner circle, my coworkers. In case you're a boss and you're working at any kind of job, but you're like, I really believe in team player. Like we're all a team
And
unit.
I feel like that's one of the reasons why the 2 of us in particular have a really hard time, like, fitting in to these other things because
Right.
we look at things so differently from other people. Like, I know if you had the option, you wouldn't do this for money. You
No,
would be doing this just because you feel like you need to do it.
I told you in
And
my previous
that's
life,
how I
I would
feel about
go
it too.
spa. I would be a
Yeah.
spa girl and then do this on the side.
Yeah.
But it
Yeah,
actually
because you
is
just
that.
you feel pulled to do it. You feel like you are here to do this thing. It's just we have to do it this way because we live in a society where we have to have money to survive.
Exactly.
And if we and it sucks sometimes.
And it was a big leap of faith. I mean, I was a
Yeah.
daycare service provider for over 20 years. And the pandemic happened, and there's literally video of me like losing, like my version of my life was shattering before me, and I was losing myself, my identity, my mission as a woman that loves children, loves families. I want to enrich, and I educated the children. I gave them experiences that I wanted as a child, that I made sure everyone had access to. And then all of a sudden and I was already, by the way, I did have my daycare and I had life force energy. I actually took my formal dining room and turned it into my practice. My husband like was so awesome and supported and created that for me. So I worked from 6 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, opened up my practice from 7 to 10. And all of a sudden 2020 happened. We got shut down. I couldn't have the kids because if you remember,
Mhm.
we didn't know what was going on, and I didn't
Yeah.
want to be responsible for, God forbid, any children getting sick. They blame it on me. I couldn't deal with that kind of feeling as a mom and just as a woman loving children and families. I was like, I can't do it. How am I going to survive? And then I was given, which my husband was pushing me for years before I went full scale on life force energy. And he was like, this is the time. And I didn't
Yeah.
have anything really. I didn't have anywhere the foundation that I had my daycare, and we struggled for a while. And I wanted to give up. And then I was having to go to trainings. I mean, I did so much studying and certification studies. I really went into esotericism. I went into religion. I went into anatomy, physical health, nutrition. I went into emotional understanding. I mean, I went deep, and then I opened up the practice. So in case people think like, oh, she just didn't know, I was fine retiring as the best daycare provider. That's right. Because I did it with so much love and heart and dedication. I put everything into that. And I still get to talk to the kids today, but I had to move.
Well, honestly, I feel like you're a teacher at heart.
That's what it was. And it came down. So that prepared me to be where I'm at today. So when she says
Yeah.
that, yeah, really, I had the nudge, I had to listen, and here I am today. And she didn't want to either when she was first being called to do it. Like it's not like we woke up one day, we said, this is what we're going to do. We actually struggled in the identity to be where we are at right now. And that's why she was even saying like the misfits, like we were already separated from the world. We were
Mhm.
already treated differently in a regular role that the world would accept as normal. And then her and I
So
grew up. We're like, let's just do it.
so going back to the whole Starseed thing, um, and I'm very sorry if you hear any burping coming from my end, anyone. For some reason, I don't know if it's my body, I don't like the vessel, I don't know what it is, but for some reason, when I connect, I burp a lot, and
Oh,
it's
I
really
have another
gross.
healer that does
So
the same thing.
I'm really sorry. I know it's gross. I don't mean to
Okay,
burp in
I'm
your ears.
sweating. And look at me. So I'm gonna be real. You're gonna see me to all of you. I don't care. No, I actually have another practitioner, and we love it because his way, he actually does deep burps because he's channeling, and it actually
Oh.
moves through it that way. So there is another person that does.
Oh, you know
I
what?
sweat,
I'm
I
gonna
get
have to look
goosebumps.
into that.
It's crazy. Okay, I'm going
So
to.
let's dive in a little deeper to the whole star seed
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah, so we just talked about not feeling like you belong,
Yeah.
desire to serve. A lot of the times, what is another part of being a star seed? Being that you have these origins inside of you. Let me break it down really quick, and then we're going to talk a little bit more about those key points. Now, whether you believe it or not, you don't have to. I'm just going to share a story. Take what you want, and whatever doesn't resonate, blow it off. Okay? So let's say that you are an energetic source before you enter into a body, into a vessel. And you've been traveling all over the place. Earth is just one of the places that your energetic being chose to be a part of and to expand, to learn, to evolve, to grow, to experience being a human. But prior to you being a human, your energetic source has traveled in other ways of being of an existence. Yes, you could have been human in several evolutions, but you could have also been a Pleiadian. You could have been an Arcturian. You could have been a deer. You could have been a tree. Okay. And there are many different cultures that recognize that our imprint of our energy has experienced multiple variations of existence. And so when we talk about Starseed, we're talking about evolutions of your energy source that you have experienced, which is why some people who are born white will feel so drawn to another culture that is not of their culture, and they go, oh, that's culture appropriation. It's like, no, you don't. Okay, there can be.
I feel that because I go back and forth with that all the time with myself. Like, for some reason, I don't know why, but my family, for as long as I can remember, like my parents and my sisters, um, we have always been pulled to the like Mexican culture, like celebrating the things that they tend to celebrate, the music, the food. And I really wanted to make like an altar for myself for Day of the
Mhm.
Dead and
Yeah.
whatnot. But like sometimes I feel like, especially because I am a white woman, that like it could come off as cultural appropriation. So like
Oh.
how is that something that you can move past for?
And that's something that you'll want to work through. But here's what I tell people: you have the right to honor your ancestors. And I look at it this way: if you're honoring it with love and respect, whatever that culture may be, it's deep inside your cellular memory. It's deep inside the convictions and your belief system. It's deep in your memory. Just because we don't have always proof to show something, that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. As we're discovering more and more things now, scientists are finding creatures and things in the water, and we're like, oh, this is a new species to us right now,
Yeah.
but it's existed. So, oh, just because you can't see it, you think it's not there. So I tell people, as long as you show love and respect, appreciation, I think that goes for anything in life. There is nothing wrong with you also sharing in that connection, because it's your truth, it's your love, it's your respect, it's your honor. Then lean into that. And if someone else has a problem, then they have to deal with that. They have some limiting belief, they have something that doesn't allow them to see a wider perspective. And sometimes all we need to do is open up our perspective. And like I teach
Mm-hmm.
my kids, I said, right now I'm in this angle, but if I go like this, oh my gosh, you still exist here, but now I just saw a wider spread of this part of my space.
Yeah, I've actually been
Broaden
talking
your
about
perspective.
I've been talking about that a lot on my socials. I haven't lately, but I was talking about it a lot like maybe 6 months ago about perspective and opinions and how we need to
Yes.
stop looking at these things as opinions, because when we look at them as opinions, that typically has a negative connotation on it, right? But if we look at it as perspective, oh, well, I'm going to look at it how you're seeing it so that I can understand why you're seeing it that way. I would appreciate it if you did that for me as well.
Yeah. It's
And
just
I
looking
feel
at
like
how
that's really
different points
helped
of
me.
view.
Yeah, it's helped me open up my mind a lot. And I can now understand that, like, before, when there were things I would get mad at, it's not because I was mad at them, it's because I wasn't able to allow myself to really see and understand what was happening on their end of the
Right.
spectrum. I was just looking at it from my end of the spectrum. It's really helped me a ton, looking at it as a perspective thing, like you were talking about.
Yeah. And, and here's the thing, too. It's like you're going to have a strong inner knowing. You're going to probably have some information inside of you, or you're really drawn to specific cultures, knowledge. And it's going to feel like it's so natural to you. It's going to feel like you quenched a really good thirst. That could be another sign that you're outside of what everyone expects you to be. There is something deeper inside of your being that recalls this connection to a destination, to a culture, to a knowledge. You may feel like you're philosophical and not like your other family members or friends. And that doesn't mean there's
Yeah.
something wrong with you.
No.
It's something that's important and that comes out. It's like a waterfall, it just washes right through. The other part is being sensitive, feeling sensitivity to things. Maybe you're really deep in being empathic for people. Maybe you genuinely are the one that everyone wants to come and talk to because they know that you are going to see them for them and not what you want them to be. That's another sign that, you are so aware and connected to yourself that you are deeply emotionally sensitive and respectful and aware, and you are a safe place for people to connect to.
Mhm.
And, Alicia, I also learned from you as we became friends and now we're growing up together in this part of our life, this chapter of our lives. I've seen Alicia and other people that I take care of being empathic people. They have really strong social justice concerns.
Mhm.
It's so deep. And maybe nobody
Yep.
else in their family's that way. No one's telling them to be that way, but there's something inside of them that they can't ignore.
Yeah, and it's something that sometimes you just have to turn off, because if you can't find your way of turning it off, it can be kind of miserable, because you just feel yourself feeling all of it just so deeply, especially with all of the turmoil that is happening today. We have to learn how to turn that shit down, because if
Right.
we don't, we are not going to be able to go on living our lives as we want to live our
Yeah.
lives.
Yeah, there's kind of that little bit of delulu where you kind of, it's like, what's there, but it's like, I can't right now. I can't give enough brain to that at the moment. But
Mhm.
and here's the other thing too. Let's go into the metaphysical. Are you the type of person that has natural intuition? You may have precognition, clairvoyance, something inside of you can pick up. Can you sometimes feel like you can hear your partner, your best friend's thoughts? Or you sense, you're like, oh, you're hungry, huh? And they didn't even say anything. And you're like, Eric, let's go and do this. You're like, how did you know? And people just think, oh, it's because we have a really strong bond. Yes. And so that part of your intuition will be far more natural and heightened because there's a safety.
Yeah.
There's a bond. There's a cord that is healthy between you and the individual. So these are little signs that you can check in with yourself. Are you a starseed? Do you have a deep sense of not belonging? Where she was saying, do you feel like a misfit? Do you feel like people just don't get you or don't understand? Do you have a strong intuition, a psychic mediumship? Or just information that's deep inside of you that you have a conviction? Are you mission oriented? Do you feel the need to serve and to help people and to witness them rise above an issue and thrive and achieve set needs and goals? Are you just have a curiosity about the cosmos? Do you have a telescope at home? Do you like to look at the stars? Do you like to look at the moon? Do you like to, take pictures of it? Do you like it in your house? Do you just feel that it's okay that there is more than what we see on here and you're okay with that? In other words, there may be more than existence than here on earth, and you can accept that a little easier than maybe your friend.
And I want to go back a little bit to what you had said earlier about seeing beauty and really like being able to live in that moment. Because I feel like a lot of people have this unwavering feeling that they need to get out, they need to travel, they need to see things, they need to see all of the beauty that they can in the world. Because let's be honest with you, is this place a mess right now? Yes, it is, but it's not because of anything that's here. It's because of us as humans making things a mess. The planet itself is so beautiful. It's so beautiful in every way you could ever imagine, plus some. And just feeling the need to get out and travel and see the beauty of it and just really live in and immerse yourself in the beauty of what's around you is I think it might be one of those things that would have you as that star seed because, like, you're here and you just want to be able to take in as much of it as you can before you're not here anymore on
Agreed.
this planet.
Agreed. They're like the explorers, the adventurers, the
Yeah.
rebellious, the ones that don't take other people's word. They research it themselves. They are the authoritative. And so, there's a lot of those characteristics and qualities that we all can have, or some of us will try to suppress or turn off because we want to belong. And that's okay too. We're not trying to convince anyone. We just want you to be you at the end of the day, whatever feels good to you. And we also know that more and more people are talking about what are star seeds, like what are Pleiadians, Arcturians, Andromedans, Zeta Reticuli Grays, Alpha Draconians, and so on and so forth. And I definitely would love to drop into it more. I'm going into training this week actually to learn more in depth about starseed origins. And I'm excited to share with all of you if you have any questions about it. But we wanted to at least give you an idea that there are there are people with books, and I actually have one, I'll pull that out in just a moment, that have written their own account. It's their own stories. And people can be like, it's not real. That's fine. Sometimes we'll say it's not real because we can't handle the idea that there is more.
Sometimes the human brain just can't fathom that unlimitedness, which I get because I've been there. I still get there sometimes where I just can't imagine what exactly is out there and what it holds for us.
Agreed. And I don't get paid for any of this. I'm just sharing like what helped me when I was working with more and more people around the world. The more and more practitioners connect to a person, we pick up information and our knowledge actually expands. Our intuition gets refined more because we plug into another channel. So to make it simple, imagine you're a satellite, and being a satellite, depending on where you're at in your mindset, what you're doing intentionally or unintentionally, you will start picking up information around your environment. So we know that there's a bunch of channels, and we'll call them the frequencies, as we're using a remote control running through our different channels that we can see what we want to see on a show. And so what happens is, depending on the person, if they're intentional through like meditation or not even meditation, you can be washing your dishes and all of a sudden you're getting information. You're like, where did that come from? I feel like something's going to happen. I'm sensing something is going on. What is that? You're going to pick up information. So I'm going to plug in this book just for you all to look for yourselves. If you're interested to learn more about what other star seeds are out there, like what other existences and names that we've given to them on accounts of people who've had these connections with others. This is called A Gift from the Stars. It's about alien races. And this is Elena Danan, and she graduated in fine arts in Paris. She was born in France, and she completed a postgrad in archaeology.
Will you lift it up just a little bit to see the author?
Yes, and let me actually show you what she looks like. And then there she is. Let's see if I can. Trying to work it out. There we go. Okay. Sorry, it's probably the light, but this is her. Okay. And maybe we can even drop it in the description.
Yeah.
I'm not getting anything from this. I use this. I've used this when I'm channeling and I'm picking up information I have not yet come across. I will pull this out as my encyclopedia, because I'll get information. I'll be like, what is that? Is that real? And then what blows my mind is I'll look it up. And then she had already mentioned and talked about it. And then I'll be like, oh, and as you can see, I mean, I even flagged here because when I was in session, I came across this race that I had no idea what it was.
Oh, man.
And I didn't know what the heck was going on. So at that moment, I read about it and I asked for me to know more to help me to understand so I could know how to help the person. And so this is all about extraterrestrial contacts, and it's a guide of alien races from her experiences, from what her stories are. She went through, she did get abducted. She talks about it very freely. She goes into account. She had an illustrator join her as she was communicating what was going on. She has a very interesting story. And it just really helped me to be empathic for someone like her when I meet other people that also have similar encounters.
And I hope that this doesn't like get a flag or anything. To learn about it in a humorous manner, I've really enjoyed that show Resident Alien. You can find it on Netflix right now. Like, he talks about all of this too.
That's cool.
It's really great, and it's a very humorous way to kinda, like, move into the whole alien talk. It's really great, really great. I highly recommend that show if you're looking to, like, really start getting to know certain
Yeah, and
things.
just look at it as a form of entertainment. If the brain's like, this is too much, that's
Yeah.
okay. It's entertainment. I mean, come on, when we were kids, we were growing up to ET, okay, to Alf.
Mhm.
And there's a reason why these producers create these shows. They're telling us a story, and it could be a story that's not on our planet. There's existence in Star Trek, Star Wars. I mean, the list can go on. And so we're just sharing for entertainment purposes. We're sharing our stories, our accounts, and experiences and information that we've gained as practitioners, whether it's through studying, training, reading, and connections with others.
Now, before we dip out, I wanted to ask one more thing. Dreams. As a star seed, are there different forms of dreams that you can get, or does it like any human here that may not be a star seed, like would they have the same kind of dreams that a star seed might have? Like you know how when you go to sleep and you have this
And you
dream and you
feel
wake
these
up and you're
things,
like,
and you're like,
I
you felt it.
yeah, you're like, I don't know if this was a dream or not.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is that we're going to feel things, we're going to experience things in our human body in a different way than others. Some of them may not even remember, and they also may be going through it too. So that's another thing as well. But let's say for those who are starseeds, we got people that will actually feel like they're living an existence. And there's actually articles that I just saw that showed up on the news, by the way, showing that there was people that were doing sleep studies back in the day. I can't remember if it was in the 80s or in the 60s. I can't recall at the moment. But for example, they were doing sleep studies on this one person, and this one person stayed in sleep state for 16 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
when they came out of the sleep state, like it was like to teach the people to use their subconscious and conscious mind and know how to exist in both. Well, this person in particular, ended up having to come out and was a different person and didn't really recognize what was going on. And like they got their brain was so saturated in what their existence was in their dream state. Now, it may not be that extreme. That was like one that really stuck out in studies. But let's say, for example, which, some people say, I had this dream and I swear I could feel things. I can remember certain people. I don't know who they are, but it felt so real. I was able to change my dream. I can't do that. There's people that can. That's so cool.
That is cool.
Some people feel like they've actually dropped, and there is, of course, there's going to be sleep studies and rhythms, and I am accounting those as well. But I'm just going to say the sensations that others have expressed in their dream state, where they feel like they fall or they wake up and there's a bunch of scratches and bruises on them, and that there
I
isn't
have
anything
woken up
there.
with random cuts and bruises on me.
And there isn't anything in their circumference of
Yeah.
their bed for them to have had that, or they didn't do anything in their wake state to have created those signs.
Or like you get
So,
up and you're just suddenly very sore and you're like, what did I do? Like,
like you didn't
where
sleep,
was
and
I?
like you
Yeah.
felt like you were doing something. So
Yeah.
yeah, these are all very interesting things to reflect about and be like, and it may not be all the time. I'm not saying it's 24/7. It just may happen randomly.
Yeah.
But it's happening. So it's something just to consider and to think about. And what we're seeing on the planet right now, besides that it's entertainment, more and more people are beginning to look up into the stars and wonder, is there more than what we are? And that's why Alicia and I decided, let's bring people on, share these stories. It's like going around the campfire and talking about our interesting stories. But
It's nice to know that you're not alone in the
right,
experiences that you've had, because that in and
exactly.
of itself can make you feel like you've got to back up and like not be around others because of the experiences. So
Agreed.
yeah.
Agreed. So I think, at this point, any of you have any questions or any comments, we'd love to hear from you. We're going to launch our second episode in about, how many was it?
2 weeks, so the 18th.
2 weeks. Thank you. So
yeah. Okay.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it, but we're going to be doing about 2 weeks, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to see if there's any comments that we can get. And if not, trust me, I'm going to come back from training and I'm going to bring in, and I'll probably dive in a little bit more because I'm going to study more about the origins and the characteristics and things of that nature when I come across humans that display these qualities.
And, I'm really feeling called to include this. I would really love to do one of these episodes with you, talking about religion with all of this stuff.
Okay.
I think that would be a really great little conversation to have.
I'm excited. There's a lot. And it's so interesting if you look at our history, which some of it has been scrubbed and whatever, but we're not the only ones. We're not the only generations right now that sensed or sees through, petrographs or hieroglyphics or artifacts that have been left behind. There's things are even being really revealed right now that we're finding in our land that is appearing. And here's the thing, I don't look at it as a fear thing. I find that so beautiful. It's our ancestral connection. I don't care if our ancestor was a moose and we have a connection to a moose and we get to discover that part of that evolution. To me, it's just mind expansive, insightful. And I want to be able to, even if I don't understand it all, I want to at least have an open mind to get an understanding more of all of our existences that coexist and what that we can learn from those historical stories, experiences. I mean, when we talk about this multidimensional thing, it's been going on before you and I were even thought of.
Mm-hmm.
And all we're doing is bringing in that there are some interesting possibilities in this planet and to be open to those possibilities.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much that happened on this planet before humans were even a thing here. And so we don't know what happened.
No.
We don't know what was going on.
We're discovering it even now, right?
Yeah.
So, well, thank you so much for joining us today for our first episode of Martian Arts.
This was so much fun.
I liked it. I feel like we really, our soul got to meet the stars today. I feel like we got to unlock some information and we got to share things that you and I went, even as we were moving through this information. And we're still learning, as you can tell. We're not saying that we know it all, but we are very open to learning and understanding and respecting what is out there and being okay with that it's not just about us, that there is more than what I would say more than meets the eye, but I don't want to get in trouble. Cancel that.
And you know what? It's okay if you feel crazy, because that's just part of the shift. It's part of leading into it. It's okay if you feel crazy.
You feel different.
You know what? You can come out on the other side of feeling crazy and understand that your mind is open and willing to see other perspectives and willing to see other things. We're not saying that this stuff is like hardcore truth. We're just saying that these are our experiences, and we would love to know more from everyone else that has had these same experiences. Because, we know
we're not the only ones out there.
Yeah. I mean, you can't say, nope, that was not your experience, when you're not the one that experienced it.
And there's a reason why we're so passionate about what we believe and hold true to ourselves, because it is our own personal experiences. Yeah. And we honor everyone else's. We may not understand what we like, whoa, blown mind, but we respect each person. Yeah, there's people that are going to lie because they want 2 seconds of fame, and that's not on me. That's on them. And I'm still going to respect whatever they're going to do. Be like, that's on you, and let that fall for them. But What we're bringing to you is what we know, what we feel, what we're studying. It's what we're doing. It's what we've accounted for. And we want to be able to hold that space for each and every one of you as well. So thank you again. Thank you, Alicia. You were awesome.
Thank you.
I appreciate
this was so fun.
This was a lot of fun. We wish you all an amazing day.